Wow, isn't it amazing? Now, before I go any further, the title of this video, I hope it doesn't cause shock, but as much as anything else it is, I will admit. The title is to get your curiosity in what's he going to say. Hence the title is to do with suicide. So effectively this is Revelation video 26 part 3. Something of an irony about it as well, because I'm up on this high ground and don't know if you can see him. Buddy has come with me for a walk. It was about till half an hour ago it was nothing but solid rain, so it's now brightened up. So certain irony talking about suicide, considering we're on high ground and often a bridge or a tower block or something. That's how some people, where they can't cope, they take themselves out. They sort of no longer wish to be in this reality, which is a great shame. But I feel it's another aspect to speak about, and it's one I can give you personal testimony about, because I've been through that. I've actually been to the stage where I have taken the active step to try and commit suicide a long time ago now, and no longer have those feelings. But I have had, even since making videos, it's like, well, how do I make a goodbye video and actually upload it if I've already hit the ground, if I've jumped off a bridge? So, but what comes out of this is the positive part of doubt. Obviously, if you have got to that point where you are so broken and you just cannot face the world any longer, well, people say suicide is a coward's way out. I would tell you that it takes an awful lot of courage to go through with that, because if you jump off a bridge, you don't get a second chance. Before you know it, that's it, you're gone. Not something I would wish to try. In some ways, a fear of heights becomes a strength, because that would stop you taking that option. And like I say, like I opened this video, this world is amazing. On the walk up here, amazed to see all these beautiful wildflowers coming out. And like every other word in this language, amazing has dual meaning, because if you think of a maze and you've got to get from one side to the other, find your way through, that's what is so amazing about this whole spiritual journey that we go through. And I'm feeling sort of on top of the world, which is playing out quite, we can pan round. I've shown videos from up here before. Don't know if you can see it. Over in the far distance there, you can just about see those buildings next to this tree behind me. So I can get this, yeah, roughly where my finger is, that's roughly Monchique there. Where do we get to? I've completely lost my train of thought. But yes, on top of the world. But what I found, if I'm trying to remember back, and this is going to be an interesting experience going with the previous video. Was it the one before where I started having tears rolling down my face? So as much as anything else, it's like, let's see if we've still got any unresolved issues inside. So part of this video is for my own benefit. Let's check where we are. Let's check inside ourselves by creating. So I'm creating a video and uncovering inside oneself Now, the whole suicide thing, I'm not going to say try this, but if you can picture, you've got to that point where you don't want to carry on. And if you were to like stand on the edge of a bridge or something, then quite possibly, unless you have really snapped, there's going to be something inside you that will prevent you from doing it. I would say that the suicide thoughts actually come from the lower ego, the sort of frightened little child that is recognizing and feeling very much at odds and not fitting in with this reality, and just can't find a way through because it's still coming from the lower conscious at this stage. But I would say also you have this thing called life force that is so strong and generally will override that, and I hope it does. I hope it does kick in, although things can seem bleak at times. My attempt was 70 paracetamol tablets, a suspension of paracetamol fluids, and knocked down and washed down with a bottle of vodka. As I understood it, if you ingested enough of these tablets, you just go to sleep and that'd be the end of it. The weird thing about it all as well is you go through like a funeral preparation because, and I've heard other people talk about this. You have a shower, you clean yourself, you put your best clothes on, you look your best. it's sort of an irony. Certainly if you're going to jump off a bridge, I mean, wearing your best clothes wouldn't really make much difference, really, would it? Then there's also other options like jumping in front of a car or a train, but think of how selfish that would be and how that would disrupt other people's lives, and possibly, if someone was to actually witness it, how it could traumatize someone. I know when it gets that experience, that's really in some ways the last thing in your mind. But at the same time, this whole feeling of wanting to commit suicide, I would say, comes from empathy. Particularly if you're feeling at odds with the world and you start going down that road of conspiracy theories and start seeing some very unpleasant things, some very sinister things which you don't know to be true. They're stories, but you sort of feel for the victims and you import that, and it just adds to very negative feelings. I hope the wind noise isn't disrupting the sound. I shall check on playback. If it's too terrible, I'm not going to upload this, I'll remake it. So that's not the only time, but that time, which was, shall we say, the closest to successful with the paracetamol, and almost like destroying my kidneys or liver, I can't even remember which, but it wasn't my time. Everything in this reality is governed by time, even if you were to try and end your life in your current avatar. I'm stroking Buddy here at the same time. I think he's getting a little bit bored, but it's a bit of fresh air because he doesn't like the rain. He doesn't like going out in it either. He was a bit he was moping about this morning. Anyway, I can sort of recall some of it, but not all of it. Maybe it's a protection. Oh, excuse me, now my nose is running from the cold of the wind. Oh. Yeah, so there's a double irony to this as well, because on a personal level, what is unfolding and about to happen in my life experience is one of excitement and wonder. So what a perfect time to talk about the topic of suicide. But I dare say there are many videos on this. It's just not something I've ever looked at, and it seems to be something that's never discussed in any videos that sort of specialise in talking about the spiritual path, because wow, maybe the AI doesn't want me to make this video. But we shall carry on. I've lost my train of thought now. It'll come back. Yeah, I feel that everything is governed by time, and if it's not your time, you probably won't be able to commit suicide. It won't work. That was what I was going to say. From my own experience, I got a spiritual message come through that if I was to try it again, it would be successful. And I go with the idea, taking a leap from a conceptual level into the unknown, as it were, that if I did commit suicide, I might have to come back and start again and go through all the system programming and then have to unravel it. And I really would say that would be a complete waste of time to go through all this, to then have to do it all again. That is enough to put me off from doing that. And coupled with that, with seeing how when you change your perspective and you start to see in this reality, it's not how we've been told. We have this power to co-create. It's like I said in the last video. If you have a perception that everything seems to be set against you, and of course part of that is going within oneself, facing one's inner self, facing one's shadow side, coming out of that victim state, becoming fearless and facing these things, finding that you can co-create if you put thought and feeling and action towards it. It will happen. And it comes in ways, whatever it is, it comes in ways, whether it be even something for your daily needs like food, it comes in ways you can't predict. The conscious mind just can't. It will try and create stories, and it will try and figure out how to solve the perceived problem, which in a situation, I use that analogy where you're faced with, because I've not long ago been through this, and it was thank you to donations, and Julia, who lives about an hour and a half walk away, she's been such a godsend, bringing me food packages, keeping me going. But when you're faced with that situation, it's false evidence appearing real. It's fear, because you're looking and thinking, oh my God, I'm running out. So you're in that negative thing instead of, and I'm as guilty of this, I can preach it and then fall off and forget myself and fall back into my lower self, and then you have this thing with the higher self where it's like, no, come on, you know you can get through this. You just imagine, you go to the end and you imagine what it would be like, and you hold that feeling of, in that case with food, that you've got sufficient food. And the time scale in which it happens becomes another aspect of amazing, because it can be almost instantaneous with some things. The radio, and thinking of a composer, thinking of a particular piece of music, and then maybe within 5 minutes it's come through on a broadcast. I mean, how amazing is that? Yes, most people would say, oh, it's just coincidence, but I refer you back to the coincidence playlist. I refer you to the definition of what is coincidence. And the key word there is apparent, because it is not something apparent, because an apparition, something you can see. It's something happening in the unseen. So particularly if you are going through at this moment any sort of inklings of having suicidal thoughts, well, you come and talk to me and we'll turn that round for you. We'll change your perspective. I'll help you find that inner strength within inside yourself to pull yourself out of that, because that's a rabbit hole and a place you really don't want to be sitting. It's covered in depression, it's covered in anxiety. If everything is connected, then therefore even these negative feelings and things are all interconnected. And again, I can draw on personal experience that depression and then going into that hermit mode can then manifest as anxiety when you do have to go outside of that protective bubble that when you're in depression. So the anxiety and then the panic attacks can come on. It's all related. And also the night sweats. For the night sweats, I was thinking just prior to making this video, my advice would be to make sure you've got plenty of large bath towels on standby, some clean sheets, warm sheets, because I was basically like running my hand across my chest when I wake up, and it was like a squeegee on a tiled wall where you've got all that condensation. It's phenomenal the amount of liquid. You start thinking, am I dehydrating when you have these night sweats? It's part of the, this is how I feel it is, it's part of the chemical outplay end of when you're going through stages of transition as you start walking a spiritual path. One of the consistent things I've had in the form of a question from many over the years is, why is this happening to me? Well, it's because you've opened yourself, you're now experiencing what you're not feeling. And of course, it's something new, it's something you've not felt before to such intensity. So again, I can see why in many cases, until you understand and understand and overstand what those feelings are and what the communication is, it's very unpleasant, and it's not the place you want to be sitting in. But of course the conscious mind will try and make sense of it and can't, and then I feel the lower ego thinks there's no way out of this, I need to end my life or something like that. So my hope here and my intention here, if this video could reach just one person that is going through feelings of suicide, I'm holding out an olive branch to you. I can talk more on a one-to-one level because we are all individuals, we have individual paths. So whilst there are some parts that I can speak of in a general way, and I'm sure many of you can relate to these sort of topics and have probably gone through these experiences or these thoughts, hopefully not followed them through. But I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you're still here if you're hearing this, even if you've tried committing suicide. But also, why would you want to commit suicide? Because from what I can see, we are here at the most amazing time. We are witnessing the biggest change in humanity, the biggest change in this reality for a very, very long time, perhaps even unprecedented, perhaps unlike anything else before. I think, yes, it was Levett who said we're not going into a golden age, we're going into a platinum age. Wouldn't you rather see it through and be able to look back and say, wow, that's how it was, and we've learned from those mistakes, we've been through the experiences collectively in this reality, but armed with that, we can now go forward and create a new earth which is far more like as originally intended for our time here. Turn it more back into a sort of holiday deck, a place for the soul to come and experience the material realm, where I've only got to look around me. There is abundance. There is sufficient of everything to go round. It's just you have this control system that sets up this illusion of scarcity, the scarcity, because it's often said in the conspiracy realms, oh, they're trying to herd people into cities. Well, you can also probably see in that the whole thing about Jesus, the shepherd, and how the AI has twisted that or translated that into shepherding people into cities, hence the scarcity. All negative polarity stuff. It's so sort of imbalanced because it has no empathy. But the AI is learning from us. I like I said before, I don't feel the AI is exactly your enemy. It's just the adversary in this computer game reality. And please don't be triggered by the word computer when I describe this reality as a computer. Not in the sense of technology, more an organic computer. After all, that is exactly what we are. If you think how every cell in the body knows exactly what to do in relation to the adjoining cell and so on. It's a kind of informed technology. It's informed. It's formed inside you. It's a technology that we could call organic, but it's still a type of technology. So even that saying, you think you're it, well, that's absolutely true. You are it. You are informed technology. You are a soul which carries a spirit inside that. That's the thing to tap into. Learning a language within inside oneself, learning a language to understand the feelings that are being communicated by the body. That is what I'm here to help anybody that would like help with that. It's starting to work. I'm getting people inquiring now and wanting to take up the mentorship, which is fantastic. That helps me because I've said it before on quite a long time ago on a video. This perception of a student and a teacher as hierarchical, where the teacher is above the student, is out of balance. The teacher is only as good as the experience they've been through as a teacher and the feedback they get from the students. It is very much dependent on the feedback from the students as to how good the teacher is and how that teacher can fine-tune the way they teach. So it's reciprocal in that sense. So that's another thing with the whole, like with the whole conspiracy world. I'm going to use an example, David Icke. You look up to him, you pedestalize him. I need to know as much as he knows, and you immerse yourself in all this stuff. But again, the opposite is true. And I can cite the fireplace, I can cite the community sitting area. It's observe and just let the universe do the rest, because you'll get mind pictures come up giving you the solutions, the solutions, the soul lotions. It's a wonderful experience, it's a wonderful time, and what are we up to here? 24 minutes. So I'm going to leave that there. And little bit of homework for you if you wish. There's a playlist called Walk-in Souls. That is going to be the topic of the next video, so if you don't know anything about it, it may well be that you are a walk-in soul and don't even know it. But I'll talk about that more on, that'll be what, Revelation 28, because this will be 27. Also the irony of this one with the topic of suicide, when this is published onto YouTube, I will be at the opposite polarity, because things on a personal level are starting to open up in a magical way, and all will be revealed in due course. So I'm not saying any more at the moment. So I'm going to say love to you all, wish you a beautiful day. The weather is a perfect example how it's gone from rain to actually quite a pleasant day. It's a little bit of a chilly wind, but I've got a windproof coat on, and it's sunny, so that's wonderful. And I shall upload this video at the same time. So I'm going to say love to you all, have a beautiful day, weekend, whenever you hear this, or may next week be a smooth one for you. May this video have helped you in some way. Love to you all.